Hello friends, it's Nikki and welcome back to my messy bookshelf. Today I'm here with a tag video. Today we're doing the packing heat book tag. What to pack on a holiday. I will admit, when I first saw the title of this tag, I thought it was something completely different, and I was ready for that too, but you know, here we are. So this tag was created by Heather at Heather Gregg 9975, and I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. And this is a tag all about your habits when it comes to packing books for a trip. And this is what Heather says. She says, "At last, a tag about which books to pack for a holiday, with a little title tipping its with a title tipping its Stetson to all the readers of westerns for June on the range." So, tipping my Stetson back at you. Please do this tag to add your wisdom to the collective booktube knowledge. I love this topic, and the reason is that right from the beginning, I will tell you that I always overpack books. But I will tell you why. I have had every reader's worst fear happen when it comes to traveling. So, I have had an experience where I was traveling and obviously super frantic traveling, and at the last minute they had to check my carry-on bag, and we're all in a rush, didn't have time to take my book out of the bag, so I was sans reading material on the airplane, and then I had a layover, so it was rough. So I did buy a book at the next airport, but it was rough. It was very rough. And then I had another experience where I was on my first deployment way back, what was it, 2008, 2009. And it was the year, or it was the time when the first edition Kindle was out. And it didn't have the Wi-Fi capabilities that the new and improved Kindles do. So I ran out of reading material while I was deployed. So, yeah, I tend to always overpack books. So I'll stop rambling and let's get into the questions. And the first question is, what types of books do you pack? I always like to pack a variety of books. I typically have three different types of books that I bring, but I do bring physical books, and I do bring Kindle books and audiobooks with me whenever I travel. And I'll share more because the next question is to give examples. So, something I always like to do, and people think that I'm crazy for this, I will usually bring a very large chunker with me. I always have at least one chunker. And this book, this exact book, is actually the one that I purchased at the airport when I ran out of reading material. And since then, I have always traveled with a very large book with me. This book, this exact one, Anna Karenina. Oh, I didn't tell you what this one was. This is the the three novels of Edith Wharton. So these are the full length novels, and I thought it was pretty, and it was a classic author. This was early on in my classics reading journey. So yeah, that was that one. And then Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. This is the book I bought in Singapore when we made a port call when I was on my first deployment, because I was frantically in need of books. So I did purchase this one, and I also bought War and Peace. That edition has since been mislaid somewhere. I believe I left it there when I transferred to another command. But yeah, Anna Karenina. So these are two chunkers that I have physically traveled with, and they are not the only ones. I have also brought the Stands with me and the Count of Monte Cristo. The next question, okay, and then I always also bring something small like an Agatha Christie, and or or a thriller of some sort. So I have actually traveled with this one, and I have actually traveled with this one. So we have a thriller by Lisa Jewell. Can't remember if it was this exact one because I read several of her books, but this and Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bausterica. And yeah, I have traveled with both of these. So these are real life examples of things that I will pack. So I do tend to enjoy packing something more medium slash small sized, or like an Agatha Christie, and then a chunker. And then I will load up my Kindle and my I will have at least one audiobook going. Number 3, should you leave space in your bag to bring back books bought on holiday? When I travel, it's usually either to visit family or it's to do a work trip, whether it's deployment or whether it's going to another state for training of some sort. So I haven't really been on a long enough vacation to have purchased books. But um, when I go on work trips, yes, I typically do find somewhere to buy books, and I always leave room to bring back books and souvenirs. Number 4 is, what is your formula for working out how many books to bring? So it does depend on the type of trip that I am going on, whether I'm going to see family or whether I am going for work. And so, like I said earlier, I will always bring some sort of very page turning type of book, like a thriller, a mystery, or a horror novel. And then I will also always bring something very large with me, because there are moments and times where you're delayed at the airport. There are times where, sometimes the family is overwhelming and you need to go sit in a quiet space. So I brought this. We went on a road trip last year for Thanksgiving here in the States, and I did go hide and read this. So yeah, I just can't imagine being in the situation that I was those 2 times again. And so I always will overpack. I don't care. I don't care. And in fact, after that first time that I actually was stuck in the middle of the ocean with nothing to read, after that, um, I used to fill my locker. We had these, because you're sleeping in a room with like 40 other people. I used to have a locker under my bed, and you lift up the bed and your locker is underneath. It's called a coffin locker. And I would fill an entire compartment with books because I never wanted to experience that again. And that is sort of one of the ways at one of the places that I worked on a ship. We did start a sort of informal little free library. So I've done that twice in my career. So yeah, big book, thriller, page turning type of book. Kindle books, I will often load up my Kindle with like Kindle Unlimited books that I might not have purchased, but they are free or they are very cheap to buy. I think that's how I discovered, what was it? There was a series I read called The Paper Magician, and it was like a little fantasy series. Um, I'll put it up on the screen. I can't remember the author's name, but that was a very fun series, and I discovered that because I brought that on my Kindle. So, and I will make sure that it's on my phone as well, because I am always very nervous about devices. Yeah, you can see I have a lot of anxiety with traveling, because I have run out of things to read. I have had my phone die. So I try to avoid using my devices, and that's why I like to have some physical options as well. And then the bonus question is, what book would you recommend to someone who can't travel? A book which would make them feel like they've gone on a holiday while reading it. I had a bit of a tough time with this one because a lot of my books are not happy books. So the one I ultimately settled on was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And yeah, this book transported me. It's about a magical circus. There are two magicians, young magicians, that are in love. They are rivals, but they are in love. This circus appears out of nowhere. The descriptions in here were just beautiful and breathtaking and transported me into this circus. And also, the circus always comes to different cities around the world. So, lots of places that I have not visited. And so, yeah, I felt like I was completely transported to another time and place when I read this book. And I felt like I went there. So, this is the book I chose for that prompt. And then, oh, this is a very quick tag. The last one is to tag others. So I will tag some others. And I hope I didn't ramble too much, but I thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.